Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Hello and welcome to anyone watching this past, present, or future. Welcome to another installment of Pan very manically going into game design because it was really fun last time. He's having a blast. And I've literally been thinking about this like all day, and I'm just in a big excited mood to get into this since like Wednesday because I was very proud of just yapping on, spontaneously doing something that I guess felt a lot more passion to than the Fire Emblems. So yeah, why don't I set up the interwebs? I just wanna be chatty. I just wanna be talkative about my funny little things and do get the chill Fire Emblem music. Heck yeah. Also, it's a little louder, even though my volume is really tiny. My volume is 3 inches tall. All right, let's get rid of Magic Pan. We're also gonna get rid of miscellaneous loading screen, but we're gonna get on the interwebs. What's this? Whoa, the damage calculator that determines what everything is on. Whoa, that's amazing. Make our screen a little bigger. So hopefully when we get to our little notes here, it's gonna look a little better. Yeah, that's a lot better. So here, we're gonna make a little category. We're gonna make it a bit bigger. We're gonna do Sea Sorcerer. Because right now, our main project is to work on the sorcerers, the elemental sorcerers, other than Storm Sorcerer. Actually, I've kind of been thinking about it. Kind of want to rework Storm Sorcerer like a little bit. Like, it doesn't need a lot, but like I feel like that class really just needs spells and like change that flavor ability a bit. But whew, I'm really thinking about Sea Sorcerer because I'm trying to eye at Sea Sorcerer a lot today when I realized like, ooh, today's the day to talk about game design. And Sea Sorcerer really starts off with a really cool pitch and doesn't really carry that pitch. So why don't we just like look into Sea Sorcery? So again, one thing we gotta keep in mind of general goals that we have for making sorcerer subclasses is one, we want to make sure that these abilities we get at level 1 are things that we're going to build or that's going to be the basis and foundation of our build. We also are going to need to have spells added into our spell list because, of course, we're going to want that. We're not going to have Tasha's level flexibility, but we're going to have things that are going to be very core for spells that you're going to want with this build related to your element, because that's why you signed up to be this class. And we want something at our 6th level abilities that lets us use our sorcery points so we have more than just meta magic to use them on, because I feel like that's what makes a really good, solid sorcerer. And some of my favorite sorcerers that I see on paper. But let's talk about the UA, this beta test set for Sorcerer, for the Sea Sorcerer. So I didn't look at the flavor text last time, but I'm kind of curious to see what kind of forces they think are sort of the vibe check, right? So the power of waters is the strength of flexibility, resilience, and relentless nature. So right here, it's trying to tell us that we might be a bit flexible and durable as a sorcerer, perhaps. Water parts to allow a ship to sail over the diver to plunge into it, but the passage leaves no mark. Water flowing down a mountain reaches the sea. It might bend and turn across valleys and down hillsides, but it slowly and steadily returns to the waves. Those whose souls are touched by the power of elemental water command a similar power. So it tells you these people have touched to planet water. Your heritage ties to a powerful creature of the sea, such as Nereids, which are just sirens, lords of the merfolk, and elemental powers. Like a river, you may feel called to the ocean. This call is very present in your heart, and you're never completely at peace until you're near the sea. Now, I like this And let's see the Phoenix Soul flavor text, because I just find it funny. Phoenix Sorcerer is like 3 paragraphs explaining the vibe check of the Phoenix, so it's clear that they cared a lot more about that one. This felt like probably a bit more of a fine, let's do it. I guess we're gonna do water for all the other elements. A little less enthusiastic, and it doesn't quite tell us all that we're gonna have in the build here. So right off at level 1, so these I think are very important abilities to have as a sorcerer, because sorcerer is one of those classes that you get your ability right off the bat at level 1. So these got to be your hooks. These got to be things that you get your player hooked into, other than just flavor. So first off, with Soul of the Sea, you get a very simple ability that you would want for having water powers, which is having the ability to breathe underwater and swim equal to your walking speed. Pretty solid. I do think we want to change this one a little bit. This one's more of a tweak, because oftentimes if you are I feel like there is a situation that is not uncommon, because pirate is a very popular theme for D&D players. A lot of D&D players like doing pirate-esque stuff, and so Sea or Storm Sorcerers are probably the most likely you're going to get for like someone who wants something thematic to those kind of campaigns. So maybe we should have for Soul of the Sea, maybe something to benefit that's like, hey, you're already probably playing a race that has a swim speed and can breathe underwater. Like if you're trying a water genasi, to play into type, we should probably have a little reward for those who already have that innate connection and buff them so they really feel the power of being one with the sea. And next we get sort of the foundation of, or at least like the main hook of the Sea Sorcery. And that is Curse of the Sea. Curse of the Sea lets you learn the secret of infusing your spells with a watery curse, which is very vague, but like me and the homeboys love curses. Me and the homeboys love infusing hexes. When you hit a creature with a cantrip's attack, or when a creature fails a saving throw against your cantrip, you can curse the target until the end of your next turn, or until you curse a different creature with this feature. So if you're an Eldritch Blaster, if you for some reason get Magic Initiate or Mixed Warlock, this could maybe not be the best. Little dip into it. Once per turn, when you cast a spell, you can target the curse. You can target the curse. If that spell does cold or lightning damage, the curse target or... God, I can't read. Once per turn, you can cast a spell. You can target the curse. If that spell deals cold or lightning damage to the cursed target or forces it to move, doing so subjects the target to the appropriate additional effects below, and then the curse ends. If the spell isn't a cantrip, you choose the effect. If you use more than one effect. So if you had say like control water, that might be able to do. You can maybe justify doing cold damage and force movement. You can pick or choose, which is a good thing for them to state. So right here, if we're doing cold damage, alright, if the target takes cold damage from your spell, the target's speed is reduced by 15 feet until the end of your next turn. If the spell already reduces the target's speed, it is further reduced. So really giving you some mobility control there, which is really nice. Really only spells you have that at this point in the game when Sea Sorcerer was made was like Ray of Frost, and Ray of Frost's speed debuff was like very minor. So like here it feels like a pretty credible speed debuff, because for a lot of creatures they're working with 30-foot movement speed, so you're reducing their movement speed by half. And if you can somehow get them prone too, ooh, that's always great. Because then you're basically crippling their movement, which is very nice, very satisfying. And it could sort of make it good if you want to have more of an icy vibe to your Sea Sorcerer. If not, you could just be like, I've just submerged him with cold waves of the ocean. If the affected target takes lightning damage from your spell, the target takes additional lightning damage equal to your charisma modifier. Now I get why this is here because it's sort of like storms happen at the sea, and like D&D oftentimes tries to make storms sort of like the lightning archetype, so like it sort of mixes in with water. Like when you look at Storm Herald, that barbarian is like 3 categories of essentially fire, ice, lightning, kind of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild style. Where like the desert is fire, tundra is cold, and the sea is storm. So I'm guessing because it's written around the same time, they're probably thinking of the same category. I think that's cool that they include multiple damage types because, you know, they want to encourage you to use more than just one damage type, which, you know, for an elemental sorcerer, kind of wild. I do think just adding your charisma modifier to it just for a spell is like, it's not bad, but it's like chip damage, you know? And then forced movement. If the target is moved by your spell, increase the distance it is moved by 15 feet, which could make a lot of spells like Thunderclap really powerful because that could make you push them like 20 feet away, which is really powerful, or like Gust of Wind could push them 30 feet and is a 60-foot line, so it could be really punishing. But you would have to do it a cantrip first, and I feel like the whole cantrip inflicting the curse is kind of... I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. Because I feel like it sets up a very formulaic playstyle for this sorcerer. And, you know I'm biased as someone who's played a lot of Martial pretty recently, more than I have Spellcaster. But I also like playing half-caster. So I like using my spells and melee appropriately and managing them as like a precious commodity. But like here, it feels like you're set to be like, all right, I'm gonna use a cantrip this turn, so next turn I can set up this spell. And if you're not doing that, you're basically setting up to burn your sorcery points for a quicken spell, so you can get one wombo combo, but it's not sustainable, especially at early game play, and even at mid levels where like I think Sorcerer has like a lot of its peaks. Or at least like when it gets like a 6th level feature, and you're probably gonna be playing more so in that tier of play of 5 to 10. It's not really. It's not a lot of sorcery points that you're working with, and that can, because Quicken Spell takes 2 sorcery points every time. It can really burn down your sorcery points really quick, just so you could do the basic mechanic that you want to do. And also, by the time that you set up the curse, the target can likely move, so that your cold damage or forced movement may not be as applicable as you thought when you started, when you initially had your plan. And at that point, you're kind of like, beans. All my baked beans, they're all ruined. And I do like the premise of the curse. That's like, honestly, when going into this, I love the premise of Curse of the Sea. I think Curse of the Sea is a really cool idea of a mechanic. One, having a sorcerer that's more so about debuffing, because we have right now, as of Tasha's, we have 2 support sorcerers, in the form of the Divine Soul being sort of a healer and having access to cleric spells, which is the most supportive class in the game, and the Clockwork Soul by having a lot of spells that are abjuration based and also having abilities to neutralize advantage and disadvantage to keep everyone safe without it being without necessarily being healing and being more of a utility support, which is very nice. But Curse of the Sea, I feel like opens up this sort of gate of like an interesting potential of being more of a debuffer. And I think the idea of being a debuff support, like an offensive support, is so much more fun and interesting. Like, that's why I really liked playing a Necromancer for 2 years. Was like before I got good and got the DPS spells, I was setting up my DPS and giving the enemies debuffs and giving the marshals the opportunity to really shine and be the DPS machines that they are. Um, and so I think Sorcerer could really benefit from being also a sort of like it's a spell slinger or curse slinger to just rapidly apply a debuff and rapidly do things that are going to hinder enemies in the battlefield. So I think we definitely want to keep Curse the Sea, but I think it's going to have quite a bit of reworking. I think we're going to change it quite a bit because like I like the idea of cold damage and force movement. I like the idea of really being able to control the battlefield with the waves. I think that's very cool. Um, though I think lightning damage is a bit out there. I don't know if we're gonna keep that in or if we're gonna maybe try and add a different effect in there. But like I like the premise. This is a good pitch. All right, and watch how Sea Sorcery will do nothing else with this concept, because with the rest of the subclass, they're just trying to turn you into water, and turning me into water is not what I'm really in for. But we're gonna look at what else the class sort of offers as it's written before we really start homebrewing and go into the wacky tobacco of it all. So level 6, you get Watery Defense. At 6th level, you gain resistance to fire damage, which, okay, pretty good. It's a very common damage type, and I understand the idea that they're going for, like, hey, you're water, you won't get, like, fire will just evaporate off of you. I do think cold might be a bit more appropriate, but, like, I see where they're going here. But I feel like it'd be cooler to be more so like your water, you should probably be more resistant to cold, or maybe even cold and fire, honestly. That could be pretty neat. You could practically have one half of Fire Shield on all the time. If ASMR could be resistant to both Radiant and Necrotic at level 1, why couldn't we have fire and cold damage resistance? Just thought. But Water Defense allows you to gain the ability to defend yourself by momentarily assuming a watery form, and it makes an ass out of you and me. As a reaction, when you are hit by an attack that takes bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage from it, you can reduce that damage by an amount equal to your sorcerer level plus your charisma score, and then move up to 30 feet without provoking opportunity of attack. Once you've taken this special reaction, you can't use it again to finish a short or long rest. So, this is a ability, and it's not bad. I think this will probably be something we're gonna shift over to more of a sorcery points use instead of short or long rest, and probably try to change it from, because I do think that is a lot of damage you can reduce for like what kind of damage you'll likely get as a sorcerer, because you're gonna be squishy. At best, you're gonna be a blissy of having high HP and low AC for a D6 character. And like, yeah, at level 6, reducing your physical damage to up to 11 damage, like, that's very good. Like, and it's set. You know how much damage you're gonna reduce every time. But I feel like maybe if we give it more resistance, it can maybe make it a bit more reliable, as opposed to just, oh, I have my one get a free jail card and everything, and I'll probably keep the movement. I don't know if I'd keep 30 feet. I might make it half the movement speed. I don't know. Maybe 30 if it's in water. and maybe make it more so out of sorcery points instead of a short or long rest. That way, you have more control of like how you want to do it, and you get to do it a lot more often if you feel like you need it more often. Because that way, you are burning resources, and I think that's like the best thing to do as a DM is to burn your players' resources. I don't care if they avoid my horrible, horrible traps or deadly encounters. As long as it's before the final boss, I don't care. You know? Because it's like, dude, if I get to burn your sorcery points to use watery defense rather than casting meta magic or getting more spells, I'm winning. You know? But that's what I'm kind of thinking, and I feel like we probably want another ability in level 6 to incorporate the Curse of the Sea, because Curse of the Sea just gets abandoned. Curse of the Sea just gets no attention anymore, which is a shame, because like it feels like this is what the whole class is building off of. Like even like even Phoenix Soul was really being carried by Mantle of Flame, and like it was really building off the idea that you get to be this like fiery phoenix figure, and if you use that, you enhance some of your other abilities. Like literally alone, it didn't enhance like from level 14, and that's okay not to enhance there. Um, so yeah, I would say just like, hey, we need to rework watery defense and just level 6's features in general. Level 14. Now, I wanted to keep you in mind, level 14 is usually where a lot of people are ending games around that tier of play. Around like level 12 and 14 is personally where I've seen end games for a lot of some campaigns I've been in. And it's usually the point where a lot of other classes tend to get their subclass capstone, where they seem to be like get the most of what they get from their subclass, unless they're like sorcerer or like paladin. Um, so it's very much a level where you should stop giving a shit about balance. You should start just thinking about cool stuff, because at this level, you're just there to make your players feel cool for the final fight, for the most part. So that's kind of my mindset here. Like at level 1 and 6, I get a bit more critical because I'm thinking like this is where like level 1's the foundation of your gameplay. Level 6 is like, okay, this is where like a lot of your more intense gameplay is gonna be, where you're probably gonna be spooked by a lot more encounters. Things are gonna be a lot more tense and scary. Um, so like those are important abilities. Level 14, you shouldn't give a shit. That's when you can throw balance out the window. Same with level 18, because that's like endgame stuff for most players. Alright. Shifting 4. Starting with level 14, you gain the ability to enter a liquid state when moving. When you move on your turn, you only take half damage from opportunity attacks, and you can move through an enemy's space but can't willingly end your turn, end your move there. On your turn, you can move through any space that is at least 3 inches in diameter and can do so without squeezing, which basically is not make you move at half speed at a tight space. When you stop moving, the regular size rules apply if you're in a space one size smaller than you. You can willingly stop in a space smaller than that, and if you're forced to do so, you immediately float to the nearest spot that you could fit back along your path of movement. So here it gives a big mobility boost of trying the idea of like, hey, you're liquid, you get to move around without worrying about attacks of opportunity, really, or at least you only take half. I think it'd be even better if you didn't take attack of opportunities if you're moving. Just make that a passive thing, like you're level 14, go for it. You know, if anyone actually attacks you on their turn or with a spell, you're probably fucked anyway. Um, but okay, I like the idea that it lets you be fluid, like literally, and like get through nooks and crannies. But also, I've noticed that like for some reason they think this is like a really really powerful ability, and like it would be if it was earlier level, because players really do like if they find a hole or a weird nook and cranny, if they can just go in there and like find the secrets, that would be like, ooh, hee hee, I found the secret. I want to explore it. Because players are little monkeys, the little monkeys who are curious about everything. Um, but like, I feel like at level 14, you don't really need. I don't feel like a lot of them are having those curiosities because they feel like gods. Because they are. Like, they're casting level 7 spells at this point. Motherfuckers can just go to other planes of existence at this point. Turning to water is not a sign of magnificent power. And, like, it really seems like how this class shifts after Curse of the Sea seems to be you just turning into water. And I don't feel like that's part of the fantasy most players get when they think about having powers of the ocean itself. Um, and like at least when the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer gets the ability to become amorphous at level 14, it is a selection off of like a list of 3 other things that they can do, and they can use sorcerer points to determine how much of these abilities they want to have in this weird alien form. But here's at level 14, you have finally the ability to turn to water, and also uh, a good way to deal with opportunity of attacks. So that definitely needs reworking. We definitely need something that's powerful. Maybe work more so on curses, or maybe a possible debuff you can give your enemies. Lastly, level 18. Again, at this point, we should just be working on power fantasy, really cool ideas, just going nucking futz, right? This is our capstone. With Water Soul, we gain the following benefits by being altered by the power of the sea. We no longer need to eat or drink or sleep. A critical hit against you becomes a normal hit, and you have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So this is really lame. Like, okay. Not needing to eat or drink or sleep, that's usually a flavor ability in D&D. Really, mechanically, what that really means is like, cool, you don't have to be unconscious if you're doing watch for sleep. And eating or drinking really only matters for exhaustion, if you need to keep track of exhaustion. But like that really shouldn't be your worry at level 18. Like honestly. Um and like it's usually a flavor ability. A lot of races now, such as Warforged or Reborn, don't typically need to have these things, and again, they're more of a flavor thing. And it could be something you get a lot easier. I don't feel like it adds to anything. It's something that older D&D really wanted to try and add more so as like an end game thing. Like you see in the Undying Warlock, they made that like a level 10 feature, and that was like basically the main appeal of it. When like they realized this is a flavor thing, you still need to rest for 8 hours and not do anything big, or like have pseudo sleeps, but like you just aren't going unconscious. You still need to rest. You still need to do mild activities and everything. You just don't need to be literally. Not having crits affect you is nice. That is cool. But I don't really see how it builds off of the premise other than we're being defensive from like our last 3 abilities that we've gotten, which is a shame because like yeah, okay, being immune to crits is cool in a way, but like also your hit dice are d6, right? The sorcerer should not be super defensive, not because they don't deserve it, more so because if you're worrying more so about not going to 0, then you're planning to fail. And I feel like that mindset is kind of what some of the sorcerer stuff of Sea and Phoenix Soul kind of worry about. Because like Sea Sorcerer here really seems to worry about the player is gonna go down to zero because they're a squishy little sorcerer and trying to make all their abilities after the really cool pitch to be you not dying or you not being punished for mobility. And like I would think it'd be better if maybe we had immunity to opportunity of attacks, which even then that could have been solved at level 14. And that would have been a lot more better for the build that we're trying to make here. Um, Maybe even always having the effects of freedom of movement, a very powerful mobility spell that doesn't let you be stunned, paralyzed, um, or have your movement speed reduced to zero. If you're locked up by non-magical manticles, you only need to spend like 5 feet of movement to get out. You, like you basically have a lot of mobility options that way, and I feel like that would be a lot better thing for what this build is trying to do, and a lot more interesting because I feel like crits are a really cool factor of D&D, and I feel like are important for both players and the DM to experience because those add stakes. I do understand that like it's level 18 and like being immune to crits is like okay, cool. Yeah, power fantasy, that's whatever. And like what I've been preaching, but like also it just doesn't seem spicy. It's like that's powerful, but like I don't feel like that belongs here. It's a creep, it's a weirdo. What the hell is it doing here? And lastly, having resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Like I'm glad it doesn't stay on non-magical weapons because oftentimes when Wizards of the Coast do add resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, it is always on non-magical weapons as opposed to just all, unless if you're a barbarian. But like also, it kind of feels like we're just having the default barbarian rage here, and like that's fine. But like at this point, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage is probably not what you're going to be really worrying about anymore. It's not a bad thing to have, um, but like at this level, that's probably the least thing you're worried about. Um, so yeah, Sea Sorcery is going to get a lot of reworking, and we're going to get right back into that after I take a little pee-pee break. Japan goes to the piss house. So I will drop. We're gonna get loading screen time. I'll be right back, and I'm gonna mute so people don't bully me about hearing my fleshies. Hey guys, what's up? It's me, big YouTuber Critical. I, uh, I just, read the, Sea Sorcery and I drank it all up and I pissed it all out and we're gonna make a new one. Put it on YouTube, get it, like, I don't know, like 5 views. That's like pretty big for me. Um, literally me when I see a VOD, that I uploaded and I go, more than 10 views. Impressive. Magic Band, hey, Magic Band, get out of there! Alright. So, right away, first off, let's get the spells out of the way, because I notice spells, whenever I do D&D streams, about, like, talking about game mechanics, or meta, always is the longest part, because I always assume that a lot of my viewers, although know D&D, I don't assume you know all the spells, because, like, why would you? Why would you know all the spells? A lot of the spells that people know are the ones that everyone uses, not the spells everyone needs. Like, do you think most people know what Blink actually does? I don't think most people do. I don't remember what Blink does half the time. I've never used Blink. Or, like, I don't think anyone really knows about, like, the Acid Sphere spell, which is a thing. Or is this the little orb that just goes, that's the Acid Orb? No one knows that one. No one gives a shit about pyrotechnics. No one knows about catnap. Like, are those good spells? Not always, but like also no one knows about them. They don't think about them for their flavor. They just go like, well, I know Scorching Ray Fireball. Alright, so let's see. First, let's come up with the name of the feature. Actually, why don't we go for something pretty simple first? Why don't we just get out of the way, Soul of the Sea, keep that the same, but if you already have a swim speed, maybe give it 15 additional speed. So like, you know, if you're like a normal Sea Sorcerer, right? Like if you want to play a Trident, a Sea Elf, or Water Genasi, congrats! You have 45 movement speed in the water, so you're rewarded for being in the water. And if you invested in like 6 levels in range before you get it, or like Barbarian or Monk, you can have pretty wild speed. Hi, Great Eyebrows, how you doing? We're doing D&D mechanics because I got very neurodivergent Wednesday and decided to rework really old Unearthed Arcana for sorcerers, which are a class that have it really rough. And Unearthed Arcana, if you don't know, is basically the beta testing for D&D content. So when Wizards of the Coast wants to get out a new subclass or new concepts, they throw it out and be like, hey guys, try this out. Is it good? Let us know. We're totally planning to put it out in a book, and like we want to make sure if it plays well. What you like and what you don't like, so we can fix it up before we publish it. And these were ones that were not published. If you want to check out any of that work, I think you're in it, Great Eyebrows. But for anyone who's checking this out, rather past, present, or future, you can always go over to my Discord, where I at least have the Phoenix Soul reworked and archived there. And plan to also put this in there and use Homebrew to make it look very nice and fancy. But yeah, we're gonna buff Soul of the Sea so that you have, again, if you already have a swim speed, so you can play into character. Yeah, I live in a wizard tower, idiot. You know, one of my friends is trying to get a homebrew campaign going. Hell yeah! Fuck yeah! To be fair though, most campaigns should be homebrew because the modules are not good. The modules are essentially like, they're good jumping off points. I think they're good for if you are a DM who doesn't know how to build an adventure and want to see like a reference of like what Wizards of the Coast thinks is a good adventure, or like are good DCs and everything, that's great. Like snake magic, yo, snake magic? Fucking mind goblin? I do. Wait. I know there is technically canon psychic goblins, but also there's a lot of psychic magic just introduced recently, and a lot of DDs really wanted to do psionics for a long time. Mind goblin, these nuts. Oh! Oh, my brain! Oh! Oh! I failed my intelligence saving throw. Oh no! Oh, I've been got. Oh no! Oh, D6 psychic damage immediately. Brain is now smooth like peanut butter. Alright, so we're gonna... Alright. Soul of the Sea. Sea? Oh no, I don't have arms. I'm a Goomba. Mario, no, stop! Alright. Your ties with the sea. I'm gonna keep it close to the original text. What is it? What's the original text? At first level, the sea grants. At first level, your connection with the sea lets you explore the depths. You gain a swim speed, gain the ability to underwater and have a swim speed equal to your walking speed. If you already have a swim speed, it is extended by 15 feet, so you can be really mobile underwater, which is really fun, really quirky. And now we get into Curse of the Sea, which is gonna be our big one, our big foundation here. And no, actually, we're gonna need extra magic. Let's focus on the magic first. Come on, Pan. Come on, Pan. Fucking focus. Oh, let me pull my hair back because it's getting in my face. Because I haven't had a haircut in so long. Alright. Let me see. What should we name this? Magic of the depths. At first level, what did we write down for our sort of spark of magic? Yeah, we'll add primordial because like that's better. Speak and write primordial. You will also gain an innate sense of magic. Add the shape water and trip to your spell list. Your sorcerer spells. This does not count. Or cantrips. No, does not count against. spells? No. So, it's a bonus cantrip. Always good stuff. I love this clown music, too. I'm gonna need to know what this clown music is. It's Pikmin 2. Perfect honk honk music, I see. Alright. Additionally, we are wanting... as you level up, you gain the spells in the table below to your sorcerer spells known. This does not count against the spell. Wait, what was the wording in the original? See, following added to your sorcerer spell list, but they do not count against. All right. Not count as against your spells now. So let's start a little table. Let's get a table out. Let's go on a little picnic. So I'm gonna go for 5 rows. There we go. There we go. So level 1, level 3, level 5, level 7, and then level 9. So here with the spells, our main goal is to mostly have spells to do with water and debuffs, right? Because I think that's kind of the core part of this rework we're going for. Like, mobility is cool, but that I feel is a lot more appropriate for the Storm Sorcerer with having wind, right? So let's focus on our first level spells. I think our first level spells are gonna be pretty simple. I think we're gonna go for a create or destroy water. That's pretty simple because it's of course water based. It usually gives you 2 options. It either lets you create up to 10 gallons of clean water within range in an open container. In an open container is very vague. I never heard anyone say it has to be in a container. Alternatively, the water falls as rain in a 30-foot cube within range, extinguishing exposed flames in the area. Destroy water destroys up to 10 gallons of water in an open container within range. Alternatively, you destroy fog in 30-foot cube range. And the more spell slots you include, you get 10 additional gallons, which increases it by 5 feet. So if you want to do the rain the rain cube or decrease the fog cube, that's it. This is, I think, more of a, spell I don't think a lot of players tend to use, but I also haven't seen a lot of people who just kind of had it, because I feel like it's kind of one of those spells that, you use if you have it. I don't think it's a spell a lot of people just have on them, at least in personal experience. So I think it'd be pretty nice to, because a pretty simple water spell and something the players could try to use creatively. Because this is very much more of a spell that is the rules don't really make it as cool as it could be, but we're gonna put it in anyway. Okay. My favorite island the Greeks took over with the Minotaur. We're gonna add Hex, because I like how it builds off the idea that we curse things with the sea. And if you don't know, Hex is a really good spell, and there's a reason why Warlocks are usually the only ones who get it, because for Warlocks it's fantastic. Hex is a bonus action, so you can do things and then your turn. You place a curse on a creature that you can see within range. Until the spell ends, you deal an extra 1d6 necrotic damage to the target whenever you hit with an attack. Also, choose one ability when you cast a spell. Target has disadvantage on the ability checks made with the chosen ability. If the creature drops 0 hit points before the spell ends, you can use a bonus action to, on a subsequent turn of yours, to curse a new target. Your move curse can end the spell early, and when it's higher level at 3 or 4th level, you maintain concentration on the spell up for 8 hours. When you use a 5th spell slot, you can concentrate up to a whole day. So this is basically allows you to be DPS of just spreading out damage, or because you're not a warlock with only 2 spell slots, you can use this to get an advantage in skill challenges, which I think is something that when most people have it as either a warlock or from feats such as Fey Touched, you don't really have a chance to play around with. But I feel like when you have multiple spell slots to mess around with, and especially with sorcery points, you have a lot more chance to use Hex in a lot less of just DPS manner, and use it a bit more of a sabotage-esque way of, hey, I can mess around with the skill challenge. I'll give this guy disadvantage on all these skills. Um, and trust me, in D&D games I've been in, skill challenges have come up a lot. So I definitely think that if you are in a position where you can use them, use Hex more frequently, you could mess around with that. And I think that could be an interesting utility and debuff, and also really good if you end up in combat. So we're going to add Hex in there. For our level 2 spells will get added on for free. We need to check that out. Ultra Self's not really useful for us, because although it can make us breathe underwater, we already get that at level 1. Would you continue to play? No. Let's see. Do we have any... Let's start with seeing if there's any water spells here before we look for any debuff spells. I don't think there is until level 3. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there really is. So we have to be a bit creative here. And what really connects to the seas. Let's see. Because, like, we could maybe go with some more wind spells, but I also don't want to step on the toes of Storm Sorcerer, right? Because, like, why would you want to step on the toes of Storm Sorcerer? Ooh, honestly, I know technically with D&D stuff, this may be an illegal move, but like Vortex Warp could be interesting. Usually Vortex Warp, I think, is oh no, it's not even. Okay, cool. This could actually be a really good spell. I thought this was like a Dunamancy kind of thing where it's like you can't just pick this up. But like it's legal now. So Vortex Warp is a great mobility one. I kind of like the idea of it, like, because what a lot of original Sea Sorcery is all about is controlling the battlefield as well. So I feel like this was a good one to get a lot of control of the battlefield. So if you don't know, Vortex Warp is a pretty recent spell put into Strixhaven, which is basically the dating sim D&D game for you players at the table, where you get to be at wizard school and date people. I mean, bond with people and learn how to take tests. You magically twist space around another creature that you can see within range. The target must succeed a Constitution saving throw. The target can choose to fail, or the target is teleported to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within range. The chosen space must be on a surface or in a liquid that you can see that can support the target without the target having to squeeze. So, you know, you can't put him in you can't put a giant in a funny little hallway. And oh god, when you upcast it, it goes up more by 30 feet. Whoa, I didn't know that. Yeah, I think Vortex Warp is pretty good because, like, one, it gives you that sense of battle control, a battlefield control that Sea Sorcerer's trying to do with 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 our Curse of the Sea. So, but it could be more so to either push enemies really far away, um, especially if we want to count teleporting as forced movement, because that could really push them to like, God, 45 feet away as written, um, right now. So that could be pretty insane, or it could help your allies move to get closer or further away. And I like the idea of imagining like waves pushing people, or like whirlpools, like fixing people in place, or like just uh, putting them in a certain spot, or like moving them through water spouts. And I think that could be really fun. Let's get Vortex Warp in there. Let's get a debuff spell to add on, because I like that. I like it a lot. I do. Let's see. Let's look at our debuff options. We got blindness, deafness, but blindness, deafness isn't really that reliable, so I don't trust like that. Because like blindness and deafness isn't concentration, but it's a concentration saving throw, and like unlike unlike um unlike Vortex Warp, where you're likely going to be doing it on players as well to affect their movement and everything, and have a bit more control in the battlefield. Blindness Deafness is a debuff that you're definitely going to make, and Constitution's a ability score that they often give a lot of boss monsters, a lot of enemies, because that's how they get health. So I've never had blindness deafness work when I wanted it to work. So I wouldn't want to put that upon ye. Like even at higher levels, I have just not made blindness deafness work. I've always tried to make blindness deafness work, but like also it may be concentration free, but they make the save every turn anyway, so it gets rough. Crown of Madness is also not good. Darkness may not be bad, but I feel like that might be a bit of a stretch. Earthbind could be pretty wild, but I feel like that might be more of a Stone Sorcerer spell, if anything, just because it is of the earth. Hmm. Can always pick up Gust of Wind, because that'd be really good for our build, but again, I feel like that's stepping on Storm Sorcerer toes. But it would be really good for our build. Hold Person, maybe? Because that's like a debuff spell. Because that just paralyzes people. But like also, I don't know, the CB movement. Because I like the idea of Ray of Enfeeblement, just because Ray of Enfeeblement's a cool spell. It's a cool debuff, but I don't know if I can justify it with sea flavoring. Because like I like the idea of a lot of these spells being more so like into the flavor, right? And I feel that it might not match up. Oh. I have to go for a little bit, so I'll be back very soon. I have to move my car, apparently, so I'll be right back. I am back. I'm back, and I'm here to say I have no thoughts, and my brain is empty. Alright, let us get back into the funny gamer zone. Magic Band, get out. Internet, come back in. I missed you so much. Okay. Alright. So, spells that we can do, otherwise that make more sense. Silly Snowball Storm's not good, and I wouldn't give that to anybody. Cause like baby AoE. Cause like if you don't know, then you basically do elf from you do the elf scene from Elf where Buddy's just throwing the snowballs at everyone, but it's only in a 5-foot sphere, which is very small. Like it's not nothing, but it's like oof. That sure is only baby's first AoE. For reference, Fireball is 4 times as big. So let's see. Because I have good ideas for 3rd level, but 2nd level we're kind of struggling a little bit. Because I don't want to step wind spells. Because like Storm Sorcery exists. We're gonna have something different. Because like Hold Person I feel like is good, but it's lazy, you know? I don't really feel like that applies. Because like anything could have Hold Person, really. And like I don't like using acid for water, because for some reason they really like using acid as water. But like then again also 3.5 / Pathfinder made Earth Acid, and like neither of them are right. Acid is just its own thing, or like more poison adjacent. Because like I'm debating to like Ray of Enfeeblement could be nice, because that sort of fits into this more like it kind of fits more into this debuffer role and everything. But Phantasmal Force may be something that could be kind of interesting. Because it kind of makes me think of like a siren. Actually, no, I think I will stick with Ray of Enfeeblement. Because I do think Ray of Enfeeblement's a good debuff spell. It's just a general way to debuff anyone who uses strength, because a lot of enemies, a lot of bruisers in the game, and it's based on the spell attack roll. So for at least one turn, it'll be more likely to happen than not, because then you don't have to worry about saving throws. You just have to worry about beating an AC, which like you should be pretty good at when you just focus into charisma. So we're gonna do Ray of Enfeeblement. Which, again, when it hits, it's gonna half all the attack rolls from the strength-based attacks, and then they had to make Constitution saving throws after the fact. After that, we're definitely gonna get Bestow Curse, because I feel like we have Curse of the Sea. Why shouldn't we have Bestow Curse? Because that's like a key part of our build. So like we escalate that with Bestow Curse, which is a very cool spell that basically makes you force a wisdom saving throw on a creature. If they fail, they're cursed. And that really could mean anything. The game gives you some suggestions of like they'll have disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws on an ability score of your choice. They'll have disadvantage attacking you. The target has to make a wisdom saving throw at the start of each of its turns, or it does nothing. You do an extra D8 necrotic damage to them. Or you could really go to the DM and go like, hey, I want to put this kind of curse on them. Can I do that? And you can negotiate with the DM what kind of curse you could inflict. And the higher level you cast the spell determines how long it lasts. And if you upcast it to 5th level, you don't have to concentrate on it anymore, which is really cool. And at 9th level, you can make permanent curses, which is just insane. So we're gonna add that for our 3rd level. Alright, and I do think we have some water spells as options here, so we're gonna look at some of those. Alright. So, where are you? I need you. So we got Tidal Wave or Wall of Water. I'm gonna look at both of them because I'm not so familiar with either one of them, and I kind of want to vibe check. I think Water Walk is a flex, but like you don't need Water Walk, and Water Breathing. That's not a you job. That's like a wizard job because they can ritual cast. You're not a ritual caster. Same with Water Walk. Dude, what's this fucking vibe? Someone put "Don't Speak Her Name" on chill and calm music Nintendo list. Fuck off. So yeah, let's check out Tidal Wave. You conjure up a wave that crashes down on an area. The area could be up to 30 foot long and 10 foot wide. Oof. Okay. And up to 10 foot tall. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failure, to take 48 bludgeoning damage and is not prone. On a success, a creature takes half as much damage and is not prone. The water then spreads out across the ground in all directions, extinguishing all unprotected flames in its area of 30 feet. So that does sort of play with the more idea of you just having power of the water, of the ocean, just summoning a massive tidal wave, making everyone be like bowling pins, which can be very nice. But let's compare it to the water wall, because I just generally don't know much about the wall spells, because I don't look at the wall spells often. Alright, so Wall of Water. You conjure up a wall of water on the ground at a point that you can see within range. You make a wall, really, only on the ground. No liquids? Alright, weird. You make a wall up to 30 foot long, 10 foot high, and 1 foot thick. You can make it ringed up to 20 foot diameter and 20 feet high with 1 foot thick. The wall vanishes when the spell ends, and the space is difficult terrain. Okay. I think it's only 1 foot thick, so probably only take like 10 foot of movement to go through either way. Any ranged weapon attacks enter the wall's space, has disadvantage on the attack roll. Fire damage is halved if the fire effect passes through the wall to reach the target. Spells that deal cold damage that pass the wall of the area, they pass through to freeze solid. At least 5 foot square inch section is frozen. Each 5 foot square frozen has an AC of 5 and 15 hit points. Reducing frozen section to 0 points destroys it. When that section is destroyed, the wall doesn't fill in. Okay. I think Tidal Wave is a bit simpler, and like, I don't mind if a sorcerer picks up Water Wall, but like, I feel like if you are trying to channel the power of the seas, you're probably looking more for Tidal Wave just to flush people out, and also gets good, solid, you know, I know it's not cold, but it's water damage. It's a water type move. Next we get to a level where you're gonna get a lot, where you actually do get some water spells. Like, more water spells come actually. Okay. Alright. Show me control water. Show me control water. Control water. A spell we definitely have to have. Because that is just the Master Waterbender spell. Where basically for up to 10 minutes you can manipulate a 100-foot cube of water however you wish, which could be flooding, which can raise the water level by 20 feet. If the area includes a shore, the flooding water spill over onto dry land. If the chosen area is a large body of water, you instead create a 20-foot tidal, 20-foot tall wave travels on one side of the other, and the other then crashes down. Any huge or smaller vehicles in the water in the wave's path are carried with it to the other side. The huge or smaller vehicles struck by the wave, 25% chance of capsizing. Yo, what? I didn't know that. The water level remains elevated until the spell ends. Your choice, until you choose a different effect. This is for if this produces a wave, the wave repeats on the start of your next turn until the flood effect lasts. Ooh. Part waters, you could be Moses. Redirect flow, you cause flowing water in the area to move in a direction you choose, even if the water has to flow over obstacles, up walls, or unlikely directions. The water in the area moves as you direct it, but once it moves beyond the spell's area, it resumes its flow based on terrain conditions. The water continues to move in the direction you choose until the spell ends or chooses a different effect. And then you get Whirlpool, which is kind of cool. The effect requires a body of water of at least 50 square feet and 25 feet deep. You cause a whirlpool to form in the center of an area. The whirlpool forms in a vortex that is 5 feet at the base and up to 50 feet wide at the top and 25 feet tall. Any creature or object in the water within 25 feet of the vortex is pulled 10 feet forward. A creature can swim away from the vortex by making a strength athletics check against your spell save DC. When a creature enters the vortex for the first time on a turn, or starts its turn in there, it must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 2d8 bludgeoning damage and is caught in the vortex until the spell ends. On a successful save, the creature takes half damage and isn't caught in the vortex. Any creature in the vortex can use its action to try and swim away from the vortex, described above, but has disadvantage on the athletics check to do so. First time that an object enters it, takes 2d8 damage. The damage occurs each round, as long as the rain works. Is that Pan fucking Naps in my Pan Naps channel? Whoa! It's me, hello. Yeah, we're working Sea Sorcery. We're reworking that. And I was looking over Control Water and learning, man, Control Water's way cooler than I already thought it was. Honestly, I've just been waiting to do this all day. I shit you not. My brain has literally been like, I went to work, I was talking to one of my coworkers, Alexa, and he's like, man, we're doing this. I just really want to do it. And then after I got to work, I was basically buying time until I get to do this on stream and have people maybe see me and hang out. So yeah, this is what I've been waiting for all fucking day. You have no fucking idea, dude. Yeah, Control Water's way cooler than I thought it was, and I mean that in the best way possible. It just is you having complete mastery over water. Hell yeah. So there's that. And now we need to look for a level 4 spell. Now, I want to check, because I do know there is a water-based spell in this here area too with Watery Sphere. And I want to kind of see if that's something we want and fits our more debuff vibe check. And if not, I'll have to drink to that. Thank you, Hell. I gotta take a big sip before the water sorcerer. Yeah, we'll check this out, and if we don't see anything we like here, we can check other possible curses. Alright, Watery Sphere. It is a 90-foot range, so that's pretty good. Concentration up to 10 minutes. You conjure up a sphere within a 5-foot radius on a point that you can see within range. Which here, 5-foot radius makes a lot more sense because, like, you're grabbing one target, presumably. The sphere can hover in the air, but no more than 10 feet off the ground. Dude, you could still make someone take fall damage from that, though. Sphere remains until the spell's duration. Any creature in the sphere must make a strength saving throw. On a successful save, a creature is ejected from the space to the nearest unoccupied space outside of it. A huge or larger creature succeeds on the saving throw automatically. On a failed save, a creature is restrained by the sphere and is engulfed by the water. At the end of each of its turns, the restrained target can repeat the saving throw. The sphere can withstand a maximum of 4 medium or small creatures or 1 large creature. If the sphere retains a creature in excess of those numbers, a random creature that was already restrained by the sphere falls out and lands prone in a space within 5 feet of it. As an action, you can move the sphere 30 feet in a straight line. If it appears over a pit, cliff, or other drop, it is safely descends down, hovering 10 feet off the ground. If you're restrained by the sphere, moves with it. You can ram the sphere into creatures, forcing them into making the saving throw, but no more than once per turn. When the spell ends, the sphere falls into the ground, extinguishing all normal fires within 30 feet of it. Any creature restrained by the sphere is knocked prone where the space falls. Okay, so that is a great way to lock people down, actually. You just throw that and just go, you're here. Oh shit, I saw the Mahdi GF. Yeah. Dude, Mahdi's good. Mahdi's very good, and I would love to read the last arc of it, but I haven't, because if you've read the manga, you know that there's a deep lore arc that's really long. There's such a long, deep lore about Solomon. It is a lot. It's like you're reading another manga. It is insane. They're like, hey, alright, fine. You want to know what the butterflies are? Let me tell you what the butterflies are. Oh shit. You want to know why Aladdin's a big fucking deal? Let me tell you. Oh. Do you want to know shit about Sinbad? Let me tell you shit about Sinbad. Don't worry, I was just casting Gust of Wind in my Wizard Tower so I can get cooled off. But yeah, no, I do think we're gonna keep Water Sphere, because one, water spell, and it's good lockdown. I'm tempted just to watch the YouTube video of someone explaining everything. Honestly, that probably is best. It probably is best. I would do that before I'd watch the last arc, because it's a long read from what I remember. Like, I was like reading, it's like, oh my god, when are we gonna get back to like the actual vibe check? Is literally how that arc starts, because Aladdin goes like, yo, what up? I learned about everything. So let me tell you all the story of Solomon. Who also might be me. Anyway, what here? Let's start at level 9 are 5th level options for spells we'd like to pick up. Because again, our main goals do ideally have water-based spells and have a debuff spell if possible. Ooh, Cone of Cold could be really nice. I know it's more of an ice spell, but consider, Your Honor, that's fucking wild. Wait, hold up. Do they just have create ship? Do they have conjure ship in Spelljammer? Hold up, I just need to look at this. Alright, in space, you just need 5,000 bucks worth of crystal rod. Holding the rod, you can cast a spell large or smaller chair that is unoccupied. The rod disappears and the chair transforms to a Spelljammer helm. Oh, okay. I was thinking it was like okay, I was thinking it was like the entire ship. Okay. Let's see. Let's see, it's Cone of Cold. Sounds really cool. Conjure Elemental could be really nice. Because you can get Water Elemental. We also could just make that a feature for late game stuff, of just being able to conjure an Elemental. Destruction Wave could be nice, but also we have Tidal Wave, so we already get a wave vibe check. What is it? Why would you make me miss Wind Waker? Because Wind Waker is probably a good game from what I've heard. because I've heard it's a good game. And if I feel like, honestly, if younger Pan was, it felt like he was able to deal with, like, the open world of Zelda, I'd probably click with it better, because I know I played Ocarina of Time, and I got real stuck after Time Skip when I had it on the 3DS, and even like when seeing videos of beating the game, I just couldn't get how they could progress, and I for some reason couldn't, and I don't even remember what my problem was. And trying to do any of the 2D Zelda games, I just get real stuck in where to go. So yeah, I just never really clicked with Legend of Zelda to try out some of the games such as Wind Waker or anything. I bet they're great. Like, they sound great. It's just like a thing like, huh, Zelda so far has not clicked with me. Ooh, Maelstrom actually I think is a water-based spell. So, a massive 5-foot deep water appears and swirls in a 30-foot radius, centered on a point that you can see within range. The point must be on the ground or in a body of water. Until the spell ends, the area is difficult to raid, and any creature that starts its turn there must succeed on a strength saving throw or take 66 bludgeoning damage and is pulled 10 foot to the center. Yes! That is basically control water, but we don't need to worry about if it's in water, which is great. And it's wider than, it's way wider than Control Water's Whirlpool, and it does much more damage, which is nice. So we're gonna get Maelstrom in there. Maelstrom. Wind Waker is actually the only Zelda game I beat myself. Aw. I mean, honestly, that one probably seems like the most soothing one and the most silly one. Is this a silly? It's a Link who just wants to help his sister. And, like, Zelda's a pirate? Which, like, cool, Your Honor. Okay, let's see what kind of double spell we'd also like to get for our Funny Seas. Because, like, Maelstrom's our big one. Here we go. Modify memory so we can gaslight. It is a Zelda game I always recommend for beginners. Oh, okay. I see. The Wrath of Nature. Okay, that's... Okay, I was thinking of Storm of Vengeance vibes. So that's not quite right. Hear me out, Cloud Kill. No. Now we have to thinkies. Let's see. Honestly, Cone of Cold is also just a really good option. We don't need to be fancy with curses. We could just be like, fuck you. Here's the cold damage spell for our water boy. Or for our water boy who's likely gonna invest in cold spells for flavor. Why don't we just get Cone of Cold? Right? Sure, it's 2 DPS spells, but, like, we've got to. Maelstrom. No, it's Maelstrom. Alright, so we basically have Crane Destroy Water, so we have just a general way to add water in a situation or remove it. We got Hex to sort of play on the idea. Play on! That, I think, has to be one of the dumbest reaches I've done for a stim in a hot minute. Me when I'm Ashley, and I... Me when I'm Ashley from Resident Evil 4. And I want to play on the Nintendo Switch, but I'm really excited about it. And I just want to tell Leon I want to play on it, and I go, play on! Can you have a water wizard without ice powers? You could, but it would probably be more so, you'd probably have to flavor it. Though, honestly, a lot of times when they use water, they use bludgeoning damage more often. But if you want to do a wizard specifically, you probably would want to use like an evocation wizard. So, evocation wizards, their main gimmick is that they can shape their spells, so they could do so in a way where, say, if they casted fireball, it doesn't burn all their friends. It like perfectly uh is calculated to go for only the enemies. Getting like I think equal to their intelligence modifier of people safe. Um Oh, you can't have a wizard without water wizard without ice powers. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying could you have one without ice powers? But it's like no, you're gonna have to do cold damage. Because I don't care. That's the real water damage. Is water cold? Can look me in the eyes and tell me you can't uh imitate powers by blasting them with powerful water, then slowly freezing them. See, that's the cool shit. That's some cool shit right there. Alright. So, yeah. So, we get Cranius by water, so we can just fuck around with water. We've got Hex, so we can do different kind of curses, because I feel like Intermade. Uh, wait. You can't intimidate powers? Wait. Can't intimate? Oh well. It's okay. But yeah, we get a way to curse people other than what will become our main core mechanic. Intimidate. Okay. I don't blame you. Intimidate's hard to spell. And this is from an English speaker, or his native English speaker. And then we're gonna get at level 3, we're gonna get Vortex Warp, so we can like use the waves to like control the battlefield to get our allies closer or farther away, or our enemies closer or farther away. Perfect manipulation of the battlefield, which is what seems to be the core original Sea Sorcery is trying to do anyway. Raven Fieldman to just sort of increase that sort of role of being a debuffer, and also just like soak people with cold waves to make them like shiver and like barely able to do effective attacks. Honestly, hey hell, the good way to remember Raven Fieldman is basically blasting someone with Intimidate. Because if you land Raven Feeblement with a spell attack, you have all their any damage they do that relies on strength. So if you get if a barbarian's coming at you, or like say you have like a massive earth elemental, you just blast it and it does half damage to you, or anyone really, which is always really good. Bestow Curse, so we can amplify the idea of water of Curse the Sea, which is always nice. Tidal Wave, so we can just have big fuck off wave, and bowling pin people. Control Water, because like that is the main water spell. Watery Sphere to go into why we have Vortex Warp and Tidal Wave for essentially locking someone in water, moving them around, or moving the watery sphere into people to lock them down. And Maelstrom just to have a bigger whirlpool option than Control Water, make it less so of a utility thing like how Control Water is, and kind of cold for like a classic I'm the cold boy, I'm gonna use the cold spell. Alright, so we get that, and now we really want to work with the main thing of this evening. What the fuck is Curse of the Sea gonna be? So, Curse of the Sea. So, Curse of the Sea, I'm gonna have to reread it because it's been like an hour since I've read it. But the main thing I see with Curse of the Sea is that Curse of the Sea makes you locked into a play style. of you have to. It locks you into a playstyle of you have to land a cantrip and then do either cold, lightning, or movement. And I like how it has a little bit of flexibility, but it basically locks you down to cantrip then spell, um, or trying to do things such as like burning your sorcery points with click and spell. What's the most evil thing I have done as a DM? Let's see, because I'm trying to do dastardly thing. Uh, let's see. What's a good one? I didn't kill Boingo. He just went down to 0 all the time because he was being a front man. He was taking the blows for everyone else. Um, let me see. I think I will tell you. I think the most evil thing I have done as a DM so far. And I think I'm going to do more evil things in the campaign I'm currently running. But the most evil thing I have done is allow conspiracies with okay. So one time I was running a campaign I called Vampires Are Alive. And it was like a funny little vampire hunting campaign where the players basically had to stop a world where vampires basically went on and off every few hundred years to run a blood pyramid scheme to fuel two lovey-dovey people who invented vampirism. And one poor player was named Toby, and Toby was like your Oliver Twist, like orphan boy kind of vibe check. Like he's the one who would ask for more, please. And well, I'm a little rambunctious little guy. I'm gonna do my own stuff. But like also a kid and very scared of the world, but like trying to act tough the best they can. God, the fact this is happening with Xenoblade music is playing is really fun. Oh, it's Fire Emblem still, actually. But they existed. And they're like, okay, their mom knew a guy who was totally a vampire and was taken away and sort of left him uncharacteristically. And so, in the same campaign, one of the players had their cleric die when doing their first real vampire fight. And they came to me because I was like, all right, what do you want to do? Because I know you want to be in the game. What kind of character do you want to make? And they had the idea of like, I want to be a double agent. I want to be a traitor, a possible traitor. And they wanted to be essentially a secret vampire, to basically be a secret vampire. And she had a family that was massacred when vampires came to town and did a lot of blood drinking. And she happened to win the vampiric lottery and come back as a vampire. And was a thrall for the same vampire that basically took away our little orphan boy Toby's mom. And so I enabled a lot of things. One of them being enabled them having a very codependent relationship with each other, of the idea of they're both missing a sense of family, and latch on to each other and feel very protective of each other, but then also enabling her to go full betrayal mode and go like, all right, your vampiric master is going to show up and do a sneak attack, and there are things set up to try and attack you guys. You are notified, and you can set up prep time if you want to set anything up. And they tried setting up traps to sabotage the party, so they could gain a bit more power and try to maybe overthrow him, but overall more so for their own personal gain rather than to help the party. But she wanted to help out Toby, so I talked to them like, all right, how do you want to set things up? And one thing, I don't remember if it was my choice or the player's choice, but there is a spell they have called Glyph of Warding, where essentially they can plant a magical booby trap. If you step on it, you will take. Like, it is not a save, it will just happen. It's basically like an arcane landmine. You could take, I think it's like, here, let me pull up Glyph of Warding real quick. You haven't decided triggers. Explosive Room. When triggered, the glyph erupts magical to within 20-foot radius sphere of the glyph. The sphere spreads across corners. Each creature in the area must make dexterity saving throw. A creature take acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage if they fail the saving throw. Have as much chance of success. And either I convinced them or they decided to do acid damage because no one really resists acid. And so when sabotage was happening, they were trying to escape with Toby, I think, was trying to run away from the situation to try and help someone from outside of the house while there was a house mecha fight. Don't worry about that. And Toby stepped on the Glyph of Warding and had massive acid scars. Like, he lived because he was a rogue, so he had like evasion, but he still failed the save, and he still has like a nasty, like, half his face is like burned in acid scars, and just be like, you did this before the party sees her. Well, honestly, as I said out loud, that's not necessarily evil on my end. It's more evil that I enabled it to happen. I think another pro evil little pan was in my first campaign I ever done, which I'm currently redoing. I'm currently doing a redo of it because I'm a better player now, and I know how to do shit better. One arc I had was, so the premise of the campaign was the players had to collect and stop items that should not exist. Like, powerful things are just innately cursed because they just alter time itself by existing. And one of them was called the Rose Heart. And how the Rose Heart worked, it was basically a genie lamp that was essentially, how it was supposed to work is that it is a genie lamp without the strings attached. Like, you won't get like genie, like, oh, you said this word for word. It only catches that it wants you to make more wishes. So it may be temporary or something, but like, it wants you to just be impulsive and just to make whatever you want to happen. And so I made the adventure was more so enable moments where characters had, like, the Rose Heart essentially tried to incentivize players to make a wish by exploiting their desires or insecurities. And again, this is the first campaign I ever did. And our Warlock player, Vivian VTuber, had a Warlock who was a halfling and said that they wanted to become a Warlock because they wanted to get power because their Shire had like a dragon problem. And so I went hard and was like, all right, I'm going to recreate a moment of you in the Shire while the dragon is invading, and Dragonborn are going to the door, trying to like collect money, and you run home, you think you're safe, till the dragon comes down, crushing your home, burning you, and just saying in Draconic, weak, and trying to incentivize her to, if only you had more power. And they were absolutely shell shocked by the fact I used their fucking backstory against them. All right, those are evil Pan things that I have done. At least in the past tense. I will likely do many evil things on the campaign I'm currently doing. So Curse of the Sea. Curse of the Sea is the real thing we need to. God, you're a perfect villain at times. Thank you. Villains are fun. Villains are a lot of fun. Dude, it's crazy when you actually use what players give you. It's insane they tell you so much without them realizing. It's great. So, Curse of the Sea. Curse of the Sea is... it's kind of a little bit everywhere. So, because it also is done before sorcery points are introduced. So we can't make it sorcery point dependent. And I don't know if I want to keep it as cantrips. See why I keep saying we need evil version of your VTuber model? Joke's on you. Fey morality is blue-orange, not black and white. If I ever do the Pan Mega Dungeon, the Pan's Wizard Tower Mega Dungeon, I think you would see the Pan lore and may understand Pan may not necessarily be a good or evil character. He's just a wizard, and wizards play God. Wizards play God a lot. Anyway. And also, if I do get an evil VTuber model, it's not gonna be me. It's gonna be the Necromancer I played. It's like, hello, yes, I'm Yorick. I'm a completely different wizard. Because he's a Necromancer. And he kinda is a big bad evil guy without taking the context of his story. Alright. So, maybe what we could do instead of a cantrip is make it a bonus action thing. Kind of like, So what we could maybe do is we could maybe make it like a... I'll only accept that if him and Panda canonically hang out and mess with people. Dude, they would! God, they would enable each other so fucking much. No, honestly, real shit. One, Europe could be very fun if I had a VTuber or a PNG model of him. But like, oh god, the idea of Pan and Rosie from KB's hey, if I ever pull the Pan Mega Dungeon, maybe you'll find a Necromancer in the tower. Wink. You may also find a funny little rat in there. Who knows? I will throw all my own D&D characters in that tower because I love them. But dude, if you want the real Pan enabler Fey shenaniganery, I think the real antics would be if I put Rosie from the... Shut out. KB Angel. From the KB Angel's Valdemidas campaign, those two would be unstoppable and be pure id. But anyway, okay. So focus on Curse of the Sea. Focus on Curse of the Sea. Okay. So. Alright. So I think with Cantrip, I feel like my main thing is it kind of incentivizes you to just be going to a pattern of cantrip spell, cantrip spell, cantrip spell. And although I do think the sorcerer grind set is using your cantrips a lot, I don't think I want to set a pattern because that could feel really stale really quick, even if you do have a versatile amount of options you can do. So this one's gonna get pretty experimental, I would cue. So, ooh, I have a thought. Excuse me. So, maybe we make it a bonus action. My bad for distracting the deer wizard, but in my defense, I like seeing him go off about different things. Man, it's like you're enabling my ADHD. Okay. It's a good thing I don't have work till night shift tomorrow, so I can stay up late. So let's see. If we made it a bonus action, we can make it a lot more frequent. One downside of making it a bonus action is you can't do... you probably aren't going to be able to do quicken spells that way, and you are not going to be able to do any bonus action spells, like this Hex, but also, if you're setting this up, you're probably forgoing Hex. You haven't been here since day one. I know you haven't been here since day one. You were here in first month. I know that, because you're one of my first actual regulars. And it took me about a month to get regulars. Let's see. Let's see, if we did it as bonus action, what, because then you could definitely do it every turn. And I can get really powerful, but then again, if you got good charisma, you're likely hitting a lot of your cantrips. Because, like, I don't think this is unbalanced. I just think, no, oh, enabling your ADHD, oh, absolutely. So yeah, I think, because the main problem with Curse of the Sea is, like, it's not OP. It's not badly designed. Like in terms of the balance. It just is more so, I think you get into a pattern of, like, I see the idea of, like, if I was playing it, I could get really tired of it. Especially because the curse would just be there whenever I'd use a cantrip. And that's not bad, but, like, I don't know. I feel like I'd want something a little different. And something that could be more of a choice. Like, if I want to set it up, I don't have to commit to a cantrip and then doing it, or burning sorcerer points, just so I can do a basic combo. Like, I like using sorcery points, but I don't want to just be like, quicken spell, so I can actually do what I want to do, right? Especially because we're getting this at level 1, and some people are math lads and play things at level 1. I know, it's crazy. So, let's see. So let's get something written down. Boom of the Waves. It's a bonus action. And apply Curse of the Sea. And should we, like, limit the use of it then? Because if we limit the use, we probably want to make it more powerful. Right? Like, if we made it twice... Because, like... Like, I think if we limited the amount of uses to, say, proficiency modifier, it'd have to be a bit more intense, right? Or we can make it Ooh, okay. So what we could do is we can make it sort of like a pseudo-hex, in the sense that you can apply it as a bonus action and it'll last for like maybe a minute. And you could have these buffs going on for X amount of time. But it would be as much as your proficiency modifier, maybe? This one's definitely something that has to be play tested and experimented with, because, like, I do things in balance, but I want to come up with something more fun. You know? Okay, alright, I've got something cooking. Let me cook. Guys, I'm in the kitchen, let me cook. I'm trying to make eggs. Okay. Wait, I'm gonna check something because I do like some of the wording. Because I think the idea here is we try to encourage using your spells. Because as a sorcerer, you get to cast way more spells than everyone else because of sorcery points. Even though at level 1 we don't get a lot, we have more spell slots. Like, even innately, like we may not have... Oh, we do actually have a normal amount of spell slots, actually. I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Alright. So how should we... Okay, I'm just trying to think of wording before I get into big mode. Before I become, like, 12 feet tall. Before I cast Enlarge Cell. Okay. So, maybe more talk about duration. I'm gonna say it's not going to invoke concentration, because spell like Control Water is concentration, and Watery Sphere, and Maelstrom, and Ray of Enfeeblement, and I feel like if you want to do a lot of your wacky combos, you don't want to have it. But we also probably want to make sure that it doesn't work if you have a spell like Hex or Curse on it, or similar spells that also count as that state itself as a curse, because I just feel like that's a bit wacky, and I feel like that sort of goes to the idea of, like, you can only have one real curse at a time. Minute. Take a Sea Sorcery. Spell that applies a curse effect, such as X, or we'll capitalize it, X keys, X, or bestow curse. Let's see, how does it phrase it? Yeah, let's make it once per turn. is the following damage types get additional effects. Damage. We'll start with bludgeoning because it's alphabetical. God, I'm gonna be so embarrassing at how I spell bludgeoning. You're gonna see me spell beguiling. Bludge. 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 I did it! Pan has won! Okay. Oh no, this is a vibe. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, of course this echoes. Fuck. Alright. Bludgeoning damage. Cold damage. And forced. It's effects, right? Because it's effecting them. Dude, thank you. Thank you. My players bully me so much when I spell piercing wrong on my stat blocks, and it goes pricing damage. And it's like, man, there's a reason why on my Discord I have a rule of no bullying my spelling, because my best friends do that to me. And it's okay because I know them. But with other people, it's like, oh, cool, I will crumple. Thank you, I'll die forever. I'm dead forever now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Bibsy, oh no. Alright. So, cold damage, I think we're going to keep the reduced movement. I think we're going to keep the same effect as this one of if a target takes cold damage from your spell. Okay, wait, we should mention that it has to be from a first level spell or higher. First level or higher. Yeah, because we want to make sure like you're using your spells when you're targeting your cursed person, so you can pull this wacky shit. So cold damage is going to be the same effect because I do like that. I think it's a pretty solid one because your main thing is applying the curse and really manipulating the battlefield. You're supposed to be the one control. You are the ocean's gray waves. You know what? You know what? Okay. You are the ocean's gray waves. Well, wait. Oh, I thought XP level 3 got a new one. Can I get a karaoke one so then I don't get as copyrighted? Wait, do we have karaoke? Wait. Okay. Me when I'm the water sorcerer and I get to manipulate all the movement in the battlefield. Oh, it's still going. Come on, let me be funny. Let me be funny. Oh god. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. You are the You are the ocean's great waves, destined to move every enemy within 30 feet. You are to push them aside for an additional 15 feet. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm gonna do before the Nintendo goes up to my door. I won't be surprised if that gets muted on YouTube. Alright. Did you ever convert the darn, Darn is... It is. It's a sound effect on the Discord, which you can find right here. You can check out right here if you want to hear darn. But it is. Darn is an audio file. Because I had to do that to get it on the Discord soundboard. Right, we're gonna keep the cold damage one because I do like that. Paste. Gonna make you 15 years old. Gonna get rid of your color text because that's dumb. Done, please. There we go. Because I like that. It's pretty simple. I don't think it is. I think if you're on a voice call, you can just slap it. And maybe Nitro to add it. But to use it, you should be alright to use it as you wish. Alright. Force movement, I think we're going to keep the same as well. Just because I like that general vibe. I think, for me, it's mostly the condition of which it activates is the real conditioner. Gonna remove highlight, make text that. From your spell. A rank saving throw or if the spell already forces a save to make them prone, they will have disadvantage. So say with your tidal wave, you're going to be able to be more likely to pummel the person you're targeting. Oof. Yumchi. I'm sorry to hear. Alright, so let's see. Can use this curse. Ooh. Ooh. A real interesting thought. Because we don't have the curse to be... We don't have the curse to be concentration. We could try to apply the curse on multiple people. And it would still take a bonus action to do it, and we would have a limited resource of it. That could be a lot. That could be something I would be interested to see how that works in a playtest. Because, like, yes, they'd be using their bonus action to set up a curse to multiple people, but that is more so to probably set up a big AoE to do a lot of devastation. But also, they're burning the resources, especially at early levels, if we're going to balance it to proficiency modifier. It's not a lot and would need at least 2 to 3 turns on average to set up a decent AoE in that respect. So I'm gonna allow it for now. That's probably something would be that's something that would have to be play tested for sure. Um, but I would love to see how that goes before just going. You would only apply it to one target at a time. Risk sounded like a psychopath, but you haven't find that out yet. You really haven't paid much attention to me over the years. Uh, is there a smell where we could? Is there wait? Is there a smell where we can make someone believe they're drowning? That probably is something you can ask an illusionist wizard. Because they would know. They would know. Oh, a spell. Yes. Many. I mean, like, one spell that's very good for a lot of illusion wizards to pick up is Phantasmal Force, which if you fail the saving throw of Phantasmal Force, you basically create an illusion, and the target will rationalize it to be real for them and feel real to them. And so, like, for example, if you say they're drowning or make them think they're drowning, they would rationalize like, oh, it's like raining, so it's like all the water's piling up. Of course, I'm gonna fucking drown. Or like, oh, it's so humid. Oh, what? It's turning into water? No. Or of course, major image, which can simulate smells, textures. It's basically big illusion of multiple senses other than just seeing and hearing. But yeah, there are ways where an illusionist can make you believe you are drowning. If you aren't wise enough to see through the illusions. All right. Oh. Here, why don't we just Alright, let's put it underneath that. Paste. C as your C modifier. Your uses. Replenish. After a long rest. Alright. Alright, so now we gotta do some real big changes with watery defense. So watery defense, because again, it's been like 2 hours since I read this. Watery defense. 6th level gives us resistance to fire damage. And you know what the worst part of scratching your head at 2 hours is? It's still fucking imchi. Dude, then just get a new head. Just get a new scalp. Alright, weirdo. Okay, you little freak. Just get a new head. Hi, Noble God. If you want to know how to play the Pokemon community game, all you gotta do is do Poke Start to get your starter. And if you want a document explaining how the system works, all you gotta do is !Poke Help, and you will get a Google Doc telling you all about how to catch Pokemon, how catching Pokemon works, and how you can get items and everything. And don't worry, Pokemon show up every 90 minutes. Not even... No. Pokemon I think show up every 15 minutes, and you have 90 seconds to catch them. Yeah. Alright, so with Watery Defense, this ability here drastically shifts how this subclass is designed, like radically. Because it decides to make you just turn into water as your gimmick, when like that isn't your gimmick as a sorcerer. Like that it isn't. It's Curse the Seas, and it should not pretend that it's not Curse the Seas. So what we need to do is we need a 6th level ability that either enhances our curse or adds onto our curse of like possible damage types we can work with. And probably upgrade Watery Defense to be a bit more applicable. Or maybe make it in a way where we can use sorcery points. So why don't we just work with Watery Defense because we just have it, and see where we can go from there. Also, if you join the Discord, you follow the creators. This is true. That should also be on the PokeHelp document. Alright. So we're gonna temporarily work on Watery Defense. Begrudgingly. We're gonna make that a bit bigger to clarify it's a class ability. Pan, I'm the wiki. Let me do something. Let me have this, please, please. You fool, I'm the divination wizard. I am the Wikipedia. I kept Legend Lore to be the Wikipedia for you. Just give me 10 moments. Just give me 10 minutes and I will know everything about the topic. I love Legend Lore because it lets me be very neurodivergent and be like, I would like to watch the entire Quinn Reviews iCarly review series in 10 minutes. Watery Defense, okay. At 6th level. We're gonna make it a bit more powerful by making it resistant to both cold and fire damage. Because, hey, if they want water to be more defensive, we'll let it be more defensive. We'll let it act as like fire shield here. Because you're having watery powers. Which is understandable. Because, like, even if you take out... Hey, fun fact, you know that Gibby? You know the classic Gibby meme where he just crashes down onto the concrete? That was a grown man slamming onto the concrete. That wasn't a stunt. They just actually slammed down on the concrete. And the worst thing is, in later productions of Nickelodeon sitcoms, they make jokes about it. So, yeah. Am I just long before it was a meme? They just were like, man, fucked up, this guy broke his ribs slamming on a solid concrete from like 10 feet up in the air. But yeah, I'm gonna tentatively put being, resistant to both fire and cold damage. That might be patched out, but like that's sort of in this patch 1 of Watery Defense. It may, I probably might reduce against cold damage because it'd be a bit more thematic, but if you want to be watery, just more so for your water resistance, it may just make it more for cold damage. When you are attacked with a melee, with a weapon attack, well, let's make it a general weapon attack, whether if it's melee or ranged, just to make it a bit flexible, and make it a bit more streamlined as well, and make sure that it's more so for bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, where you, as a sorcerer, are likely more gonna be spooked by. When you're... Ooh, let's just go when we are hit. By a weapon attack. And use your reaction to spend a sorcery point and become resistant to bludgeoning, bludgeoning. Damn it! Begoiling. Kirching. Turn may also have your movement speed without opportunity of attack. That way, we get to keep the similar ability, but we're not bound to specifically 30 feet, and allows us to be much more rewarded if we are going for a more mobile character. Especially if we are underwater, where we will have a lot bigger space. Like, we're underwater, we had a 45 movement speed, which is probably more so about, like, reducing it to probably more so, like, 20-ish feet for the half the movement, which is just pretty nice, gives you a lot more flexibility, even if 30 feet is pretty wild. This is also using a sorcery point to become you fully resistant to these things, and encourages you to use the sorcery points, which I think is a bit more important. It may not be as powerful, but also lets you to do this more often. Because before it was only once per long or short rest, and yes, it did let you reduce a lot more damage, but here it's a bit more consistent, and you are more encouraged to use your resources for your benefit. Become liquid-like and become resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage till the start of your next turn. Okay, so that's one thing, and now we want to go with something that enhances the curse. Curse enhancement. Let's see. I think for this, what we want to do here... I don't know if we also want to make it rely on sorcerer points or not, because that may make us have a bit too much choice. As much as me and the homeboys love flexibility, I don't want a player who could potentially be new to sorcerer, right, be introduced to this subclass, right? Because, you know, I may be flattered, and someone might be like, oh, this would be perfect for the character you're playing. I don't want them to be overwhelmed by, like, oh my god, I can use my sorcerer points for, like, everything. Because me, when I first played sorcerer, I was very oblivious to what meta magic actually does. So, yeah. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to make a new feature. We're going to have to come up with it. We're going to put the name out of our bum bum. Because I also don't want to make it reliant on having water around us, because I think that may not be the best around. Because that'd be very situational. Let me see. What could we do that could enhance this curse? Because we could maybe add more damage types that could be played around with. Like here, we can maybe add like lightning damage, or yeah, because we maybe add lightning damage, or because I don't imagine it's using really fire damage to be like boiling anyone. Let's see, of course, necrotic would be a big one to add those two as possible factors. And if so, we may have to modify Curse the Sea a little bit to make it, to maybe pick only one of the damage types that you're affecting. Because, like, say if you, okay, well, we can't stack Curse, or Bestow Curse, or... So, actually, I don't think we'd have to worry about that. I don't think. Okay. Let's go for, enhanced X's. Right. 6th level. Oh. Oh, I wanted 15! 6th level. You can add following additional damage types to additional damage types to be affected by Curse of the Seas. Ooh, lightning damage can maybe add like an additional dice to essentially try to cast a lightning spell when someone's applied with your curse. So like if you wanted to thunderbolt them, you could make them like not vulnerable, but like essentially you're able to automatically upcast them for free. So like when you're at 6th level and you cast lightning bolt on someone, you are essentially casting them at 4th level instead of 3rd. And that is without any meta magics or anything. Hey, Hal. More hydrate. Glug glug, am I right, fellas? Alright. Alright, so it's an if. If the target... If the target takes lightning damage. Spell. Your spell. By your spell, you add an additional damage dice to the roll. I did take a sip. I took a Mississippi. I took the entire state. Let's see, and what other damage type should we maybe add? You know what? Wild idea. I know acid I don't like incorporating. Ooh, maybe necrotic, because we are applying a lot of necrotic damage. Or at least this build encourages the use of necrotic damage, but it also wouldn't be including... You wouldn't do that when you have watery Curse the Sea up. but it could encourage you to use spells that have it. So if a sorcerer wants to have that, we'll add necrotic as an additional damage type. The target is lightning damage. You mean if a target is takes target takes necrotic damage by your spell. Ooh. Ooh, what is this? Luigi's Mansion-esque music here. Super Mario Galaxy 2? Fascinating. Alright. Inky. Oily. Substance. It's under spell. Ink functions spell. Right, now the ink tries a 5 a cube. Turn must make a do turn for enters area. Ink spot counts as difficult terrain and lasts until the start of your next turn. So this way it allows us to play around with different damage types, especially if we want to play with transmutate spell, to just be have a bit more variety than just only working with cold and rely on being like, ooh, cool, I can just do this, and maybe encourage you to use transmute spell and be like, ooh, well, I want to use lightning damage so I can do a bit more damage with like my lightning ball, or like necrotic damage, like, ooh, I want to fuck around with this like creature here. To like fuck around with their mobility and everything. And yeah. Okay, I'm pretty happy with enhanced hexes. Or ooh, wait. First up, the depths. Okay, alright. Alright, now we really have to go knucking futz because shifting form needs so much. We need to go from scratch with these next two. Because, like, because, like, this is endgame stuff. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bathroom break it. I'm gonna take, like, a minute, go to the bathroom, think about it, and come right back. So I'll be back momentarily. We're back. The water sorcerer has one pissing. I lied. I'm a divination wizard. Um. So yeah, here we basically have to go full full scratch here because like before we had some really good concepts that we can like tweak and work around, but like now we just have to go fucking off because like shifting form isn't really that great. Less so because like yes, I've yes, boing, boing, boing. It can be good mobility, but like also at this point, like aberration wizard does this job much better when it comes to being amorphous. Um, and like 3 inches is very specific. Um, like the taking half damage from opportunity attacks is fine, but like also with how we worked watery defense, you could do that whenever you want. Um, to take half damage and opportunity attacks because you just use that as a reaction whenever. Like you're probably not often gunning through the massive line of man. You're not doing what one player did when I once did a dragon layer of like exploring his like a white dragon's caverns, and he just had a mammoth collection, like a little herd of mammoths that he collected, and the player's like, I'm gonna run through all those mammoths as they're spooked, and you can take opportunity of attacks on him. Like, I don't imagine most players are gonna be in that situation at level 14, and if they are, they have so much magical possible solutions they could have. Like, people have Dimension Door at this point, they want to do it. They have Misty Step. They have Far Step at this point. They really want to have those kind of mobility options. They have so much teleportation options they want to do. They have so much speed options like haste and everything. They can find ways to get around that. So like, I'm not really worried about it for the sorcerer here. So we gotta either think if we want to shift. We probably don't want shifting form. Maybe something to do with curses because I like it when they. Oh, wait, actually, I got a really dumb idea. I got a really silly idea. What if the 14th ability was Hydrate? Or... Wait a minute. No, maybe... I love the idea of Hydrate, but maybe I won't make it that an ability. I'm trying to think, maybe we could do something with the rain? Like, I don't know, that might be a bit more Storm Sorcerer territory, but creating rain and be... No, I do think that's more Storm Sorcerers I'm thinking about aloud, because I'm thinking of one JoJo stand in particular. I'm just thinking of part 7 stand, which is, if you haven't read JoJo, honestly, just read part 7. Like, read part 4 and part 7, that's all you need to read. JoJo, Rainbow in the Dark. I think it's Rainbow in the Dark. No! Wait, is that a fan? Is that a fan stand? It is! God damn it. Is it just Rainbow? Catch the Rainbow! That's what I was thinking of. Dude, Catch the Rainbow is such a cool stand because basically it lets him walk on raindrops, which is so cool. And I do like the idea of you getting a fly speed just by walking on rain, but like also I think that would be more cool for Storm Sorcerer, even if it's more water related. I think weather stuff is more of a I think it's more of a Storm Sorcerer thing. Frowny face. Let's see. Let's see, because maybe we could have something dealing with. Because like I don't think we should build on the curse now. I think that should be more of a capstone thing. Like I think it's fair to have a break from making everything curse. Because even with the other sorcerer, we didn't have nourishing flame be have to do anything with mantle. And I don't want to just be like, oh, you gain health and slurp up cold damage, because I don't want to just copy Phoenix Soul here and what I did there. Um, let's see. Ooh, maybe what we can do is enhance our spells that have to do with water. So it may be a bit, it may be kind of a stretch. It may be very homebrew in the sense that it's like, oh, this was made by some guy. Wizards of the Coast never made this. Um, but, I think what we could do is maybe like for spells that involve water, double the size of the spells. Like, wait, hold up. I'm gonna check something with Sorcerer real quick. I'm gonna check our mathematics real quick. So I'm gonna check. This careful spell lets us sculpt the spell. Doesn't make him save, but it basically makes him succeed on a save. Distant increases the range. Powered makes it so we get to reroll dice. Extended spell like makes the spell last longer. Heightened gives people disadvantage. Quicken makes it fast. Seeking basically makes it a reroll. A subtle spell makes it unnoticed. Transmute. Okay, cool. Cool. A thought. Here comes a thought that might alarm you. What if we doubled the range? Or doubled the size of all our water spells? Because like that would make. Let's see. Let's go through some logistics here, right? Because of course it's a very niche category of spells. But that would mean that immediately anything with courage for water would in fact be 60-foot cubes from just level 1. So that could be pretty insane. Tidal Wave would then become... We doubled it. Tidal Wave would then become 60 foot long and 20 feet wide and 20 feet tall. And again, this is 14th level, so we can go knocking butts. Right? Like, I'm less worried about game balance, and I'm more just seeing, like, is this just ridiculous? You know? Like, is this just too much? But we could still be kind of silly about it. Let's see, I just wanna double check, and if they did water wall, that would make the wall massive. Because that would make it 40-foot diameter. Yeah, that would make it 60 feet long, 20 feet high, only 2 feet thick. Or if it's in a ring, 40 foot by 40 foot, 2-inch thick, which is massive. Like, also maybe want that power fantasy. Maybe I want it as a treat. Do. Bum. Bum, bum. Let's see, and if we control water would be a 200 feet cube. Watery sphere would be a 10-foot radius, so you'd be able to fit a lot more creatures in there. Maelstrom. How big is Maelstrom in this context? Maelstrom would be 60 foot, would be a 60-foot radius. That would essentially promote it to be... Wait. Would it just make it Circle of Death? It practically makes it Circle of Death. Like, yeah, it's weaker, but it also adds a mobility effect to it of moving them. But, like, it would essentially be Circle of Death. Jesus. Wow. That's crazy, guys. That's... Whew. You see this? Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oof. Oh, mama. Oh, dear. Holy batoli. See this? Oof. Oof. You sure? Let's see. I'm seeing if it would affect any other spells. If we do it specifically, any spells involving water, or the following spells have double their size has now doubled. Okay, so yeah, it would be only the spells really listed. Okay. With control water, couldn't you just make a flat square, stand on it, and then you can move really fast? Absolutely! Control water is insane, and I love it. Because control water really is one of those spells that makes you feel like anything is possible. Because although there's like 4 distinct ways in the games, like, here's how you could do it, it really is a spell that you can ask the DM, hey, I have control over this 100-foot cube area. Can I do this shit? Like, I as the DM would be like, that's rad. I will totally allow you to use a 4th level spell slot to make you double that, to let you use an act, like, to allow you to move insanely fast. Because the thing is, you're using a big resource. Like, 4th level spells, I think, are, like, really important spell slots, even at higher levels. Like, when becoming a higher level spellcaster or playing as a higher level wizard, I notice my main go-to spells are really 3rd and 4th level spells. Like, those are the ones I'm often eyeing, and be like, ooh, how much do I have? How much am I willing to upcast? And, like, you know, 1st level is, like, really, like, I like having Magic Missile. All I need is Magic Missile in 1st level if I'm just in combat. And 2nd levels are, like, they're good utility. But, like, 3rd levels was like, alright, these are my main spells, these are my main game changers. 4th levels are also really important. 5th are power moves. And, like, anything above 5th levels, like, these are my serious... Those are my, like, I need to change the game. I'm using my power moves from that point onward. But, like, yeah, no, 4th level spells are like, no, I'm gonna go crazy with this. And you're using resources. But, dude, I would allow that in my games. Like, I don't care if... Well, Water Walk is a spell that would let you walk on water. But it's like, dude, you're literally controlling the water as you wish. I'm so willing for you to use Redirect to, like, let you have the surface tension to stay on the water and make it, like, make you speed run somewhere. Because that sounds rad. Alright. engulfed by the waves. So, okay, I'm gonna try to think how I can use this. Have a mastery over spells that manipulate water, may show others how you are ocean. With control water, again, you could just take water and condense it around the enemy and crush them to death. You absolutely could. Yes. I know. One of the funniest things I've used control water to do was one time with my necromancer. Me and the party's monk were like put in a situation where we're in a captain quarters on a boat, and we got ambushed because the captain was actually like a ongoing antagonist. So I just used control water to tidal wave like the side of the boat of the captain's quarters to wash away like the minions um from that possible boss fight and just got rid of them. And I was starting to sink the boat, but I was helping the boat too afterwards. But still, like, control water has a lot of flexibility in what you can and cannot do. Though I would say if you wanted to condense around the enemy, I would probably bargain that's more so under the effect, a similar effect of Whirlpool. And you are actually... I would probably say as a DM, I probably wouldn't allow that. Not because you wouldn't be able to, but more so there is a spell specifically made for that with Watery Sphere. But I would probably, at best, allow you to do the Whirlpool action, but make it more so surrounding them with water, as opposed to, like, making them crushed with water pressure. I would just probably change the damage. No, it'd still be bludgeoning, so it'd probably be like a 2d8 on their turns, and they could try to swim out of the pressure. That's probably how I would rule it. So how do I want to see their mastery over manipulating the water? You can make even a droplet become a small sea. You see, you could, but it's like the same thing of like, but an Avatar: The Last Airbender, you could just have a airbender suffocate someone, and it's more so like, you could do that. But, like, would you? You know? I feel like with stuff like that, that's more so stuff you have to check off with your DM. And also how they want to do it as. Because in D&D, they probably would make that a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. And probably apply it to, like, bludgeoning damage. Like, I would say Create Water would allow you to do something like that. But as a DM, I'd probably be like, okay, there are mechanics of this game, and if you want to be a complete psychopath like that, I have to think of ways of how that would work and compare it to how this spell does damage. Like, yes, that is a brutal, sick way to do it, but I'm probably going to keep the same damage as Whirlpool, just because the spell isn't really made for damage, it's made for utility. It has a damaging option, and I will use the same damage that it allows, and you can make it an ongoing effect, as well as keep them silenced if they're a spellcaster, unable to speak, and maybe allow them to also have to worry about suffocation. Like, it's a 4th level spell, and those are powerful. But, like, also it depends on who you're doing it on, too, you know? So if you're doing it against an undead, that's always like, dude, you can go fucking nuts on your gore. Continue a mastery or spells that manipulate water. You can make even a droplet become like the ocean itself. When you cast the spells that you a water water here and Maelstrom. I'll write a little example here in case the wording is unclear or if it needs to be patched up in the future, and to clarify what the ruling means. Alright, let's get Tidal Wave out. All spells, 3rd level, Tidal Wave. Long. Wide. 60-foot long. 20 feet wide and 20 tall. Just to make your AoEs massive. And that's just passive. I think that is insane, and it's 14th level, and I want you to feel powerful. Like, yeah, Watery Sphere is now bigger. Maelstrom is essentially a circle of death. And for you, it's basically treated as a 6th level spell because of how big it is. And how it centers everyone in. And lastly, I think we're gonna keep the name Watery Soul. So, watery soul. Let's see, what do we want for 18 level? Maybe we could... Because I feel like it'd be cool if we had a capstone for the curse. Or... Because like, I don't mind if our curse peaks at level 6, because I can't really see us justifying fire, acid, radiant, slashing, piercing, psychic, or thunder damage. So, it's like this was definitely okay at like Xanathar's release, or pre-Xanathar's release. Now it's kind of mid. So, what we could do instead, maybe... Maybe we could use sorcery points to turn into a particular form, maybe? Like, to become the watery soul? To become the tempests? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, we could name the last one Four Unfortunate Souls. And because, you know, you're like the Sea Witch, you're slinging hexes, you're slinging curses. That could be pretty interesting. So I don't know how applicable. Let's see, because again, I don't know if we want to make the capstone about the curse. About slinging curses. Because... You sure? Oh my god, I realize Maelstrom now is insane, because Maelstrom just forces people to move 25 feet into a center. Jesus. Or like Tidal Wave. Wait, does Tidal Wave push, or does it just make you prone? Okay, that one just makes you prone. But wait. Okay, Maelstrom's the only one that you learn right away that does affect movement. That forces movement. Okay, everything else will be depending on what you pick up as a sorcerer. A Vortex Warp, though, could yeet you further if it's forced on an enemy. Okay. Possibility, a thought in my brain. Maybe we could make it, what was I thinking? Maybe we can, make it like like a hex slinger or something, like, you know, give you the ability to target 2 creatures at a time, or select multiple targets at a time, so then, you know, you don't have to set up your AoEs to be devastating. Because, like, really what we do well is manipulating the battlefield, but we really do well bullying one person in particular, or bullying a few people if we want to set up Hex as well. Wait, no, Hex doesn't work with that, because we don't allow it when... Because Consistency doesn't work when someone is under Curse. But it ends early, yeah, cast. The spell that applies to Curse. Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, you can't stack that. Because yeah, applying the curse into multiple people would be good, because that really feels like a power move. And you'd have up to 5 uses of it for long rest. So you could really sling it around. Uh, ooh, maybe? Ooh. Maybe when we use the Curse the Sea, you could use sorcery points to add on a bestow curse onto them. Like, essentially double down on curses. So, say if you used Curse the Sea, you could then use, like, say, 3 sorcery points to apply an effect from Bestow Curse. So then not only would they be punished for the damage, but then you could just slap on a Bestow Curse ability. Ooh. That could be pretty good because it also doesn't mean you're breaking the fact that you have to either have Curse the Sea, Hex, or Bestow Curse on. You get to play on your playstyle of just going knucking butts. No, Noob God really going like, I need 2 Pokemon community games going on at once. All right, let's write that down and play around with that idea. Oh yeah. The accursed seas. 18th level, when you target a sure. With let's see. Whoa, whoa. Thank you for the follow, other noob god. Oh my god, I have both noob gods following me? Oh my god. No, I know I'm special. You know it's the cooler noob god, because it's noob god 69420. First of the seas. You may use 3 sorcery points to add on an effect from the bestow curse spell on top. I don't know how I got this username. I'm pretty sure it's banned. So, Mr. Jeffrey Bezos, yeah, we got an illegal here. We got this sexiest stone man alive. Very illegal. Yeah, no, he is a beagle. Yeah. So yeah. Back from This way, you can really shut down enemies if you are... Or, yeah, it's supposed to be from. So yeah, that could be a good 18th level ability. You may spend additional sorcery points. Yo, nice. Spent additional sorcery points to peace. You use last been outside of Do you know Ash's Pokemon, Jesus Christ? I have a theory that Arceus... That is Arceus' child. Oh man, I can't believe Ash lost for our sins. I love the idea of of Ash like going like every time he loses, the league gets emotionally crucified. It has to be like, and then he has to come back, and after 80 years, after 20 years in the desert, he is allowed to have some joys. Galar is actually heaven. Alright. So, yeah, if you use 5 or more of the sorcery points, the effect will remain on the target even when wears off. Okay. So, the idea here is with the Accursed Seas at 18th level, when you target a creature with your Accursed Seas, you may use 3 sorcery points to add an effect from the Bestow Curse spell. This method of applying Bestow Curse does not count against you casting Curse the Seas, so you can have both curses applying on the target at the same time. Without concentration as well, because you're just using Curse of the Sea to do this. And they're counted as the same ability. You may spend additional sorcery points to functionally increase the level of Bestow Curse applied to the target. If you use 5 or more sorcery points, the effect will remain on the target even when off. Probably refer to upcasted. If you use 9 sorcery points, the Bestow Curse effect is permanent. seeing it on my Nintendo Switch so I can watch the stream on my TV. Hell yeah. Dude, another person putting me on the big screen as I wrap everything up. So, I'm gonna wrap up what we've got here for this redo of the Sea Sorcerer or Sea Sorcery. So we kept Soul of the Sea, and we buffed it a little bit. At first level, your connection to sea lets you explore the depths. You gain the ability to breathe underwater and have swim speed equal to your walking speed. If you already have a swim speed, it is extended by 15 feet. This allows you, or if you are playing into theme, such as with a CL, Trident, Simic Hybrid, maybe even Turtle, um, you're rewarded for it, and you get an expanded swim speed, which I think is kind of nice. If you're playing the type, you're rewarded. Uh, Additionally, you get magic at the depths. At first level, you learn how to speak primordial because, of course, you do. You're an elemental sorcerer. You gain innate sense of magic. Add the wild shape. Add the shaped water cantrip to your sorcerer spells. This does not count against spells you know. As you level up, you gain the following spells on the table below. As sorcerer spells, but they do not count spells known. So you get create and destroy water, so you have a simple way to just have water be in the battlefield or remove it. You become just a simple get or destroy. As well as Hex, so you have another way to apply curses if you ever run out of Curse of the Sea, and still do reliable damage, especially if you're in a horde and you need to apply the Hex quickly. When you get second level spells, you get Vortex Warp to help your battlefield, manipulation of the battlefield. Ray of Enfeeblement to apply another curse to weaken your enemies that rely on strength. You get Bestow Curse, so you have a more potent curse you can throw onto enemies if you wish. Tidal Wave to bowling ball your enemies, wash them away. You get Control Water for ultimate utility in the sea, as well as Water Sphere to lock opponents down, and again have that movement manipulation going real well. At 7th level, or 9th level, you get Maelstrom, which is basically massive whirlpool, as well as Cone of Cold for just nice, reliable cold damage and massive AoE. You, at first level, also get Curse the Seas. As bonus action, you can apply the Curse of the Sea. This curse lasts for 1 minute. This curse ends early if you cast a spell that also applies a curse effect, such as Hex or Bestow Curse. While under the curse, once per turn, when you cast a spell first level or higher, that does the following damage types or force movement will get additional effects. With bludgeoning damage, if the affected target takes bludgeoning damage from a spell, they must make a strength saving throw or become prone. If the spell already forces a strength saving throw, they'll have disadvantage. So this allows stuff like your tidal waves to do better, or to do really well when you get there. Or if you decide to invest in earth spells for some reason, you can make them fall better there. Who knows? I don't know what you're gonna get sometimes. And it's just whenever you do bludgeoning. It can also be a part of a Maximilian's Earthen Grasp if you decided to get that. Anything does bludgeoning. If you do catapult, that would work. Any spell that does bludgeoning. If it has cold damage, the affected target takes cold damage from your spell. Target speed is reduced by 15 feet until the end of your next turn. If the spell already reduces the target speed, use whichever is greater. If he is first movement, the target is further moved by 15 feet. You can apply the curse to multiple targets. You may use Curse the Sea as many times as your proficiency equal to. Well. Oh no. Oh no. Well. equal to your proficiency modifier. You may replenish after taking a long rest. At level 6, we get Watery Defense. At 6 level, you gain resistance to both fire and cold damage. When you're hit by a weapon attack, you can use a reaction to spend a sorcery point to become liquid-like, and become resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage till the start of your next turn. You may also move half your movement speed without opportunity of attack. So that way, now not only are you a bit more defensive against other magics, such as the cold of the sea and fires you can put out, you also are able to use your sorcery points to resist weapon damage, which you're going to be very squishy to with your low AC, and also get away from them. And if you're in water, you're going to have a further chance to back away from it, which if you're in a campaign where you're a Sea Sorcerer, you're probably more likely to be in a place where water is around. Additionally, at level 6, you have Curse of the Depths. At 6th level, you add the following additional damage to be affected by Curse of the Seas. If the target takes lightning damage by your spell, you add 1 additional damage dice to the roll. If the target takes necrotic damage by your spell, an inky, oily substance leaks under your spell. The ink occupies a 5-foot cube, and at the start of the target's turn or enters the inky area, they must make a dex saving throw. On a failure, they become prone. The ink spot counts as difficult terrain and lasts until the end of your next turn. Engulfed by the waves. At 14th level, a mastery over spells to manipulate. You have mastery over spells to manipulate water. You can make even a droplet become an ocean itself. When you cast spells that involve water, the area or size of the spell is doubled. Spells affected by this are the following: Create and Destroy Water, Tidal Wave, Wall of Water, Control Water, Water Sphere, and Maelstrom. An example of this would be Tidal Wave turns from 30 foot long, 10 feet wide, and 10 feet tall to 60 foot long, 20 foot wide, and 20 foot tall. So your water spells are going to have bigger radiuses, bigger areas of effect to work with. Lastly, at level 18, you get the Accursed Seas. When you target a creature with your Curse of the Sea, you may use 3 sorcery points to add an effect from the Bestow Curse spell. The method of applying Bestow Curse does not count against you casting Curse of the Sea, as it counts as the same ability. You may spend additional sorcery points to functionally increase the level of Bestow Curse applied to the target. If you use 5 or more sorcery points, the effect will remain on the target even when Curse of the Sea wears off. Refer to Bestow Curse lasts when upcasted. If you use 9 sorcery points, the Bestow Curse effect is permanent. And yeah, that's how we get a debuff heavy Sea Sorcerer that gets to build off of Curse of the Sea and also have a lot of manipulation of the battlefield with a lot of our water spells and movement capabilities. Yeah. So, now what we're gonna do is once again, we're gonna raid Oddcog, because I've clearly affected Oddcog, because Oddcog he's a dwarf VTuber, and the other day he was playing Resident Evil, and I was talking about how I get done with Phoenix Soul, and they're gushing about the new UA content from 1 D&D, or how some people are calling it now, 5.5 edition. So we're gonna support them after our very long D&D talks. Before I do that, if you want to check out this all taken in a fancy document, you can go over to my Discord, where I post what this homebrew content is, and you could also check out the Phoenix Soul that's developed there as well. You also get updates to what my schedule is and the like. also get to hang out with me, maybe? Also, that's also cool, I think. Um, but yeah, we are going to be raiding Raid Odd Cog. Alright, thank you for anyone who came by, whether past, present, or future. I hope you have a nice day or evening and have something nice to look back on. Until next time, I'll wish you a bye-bye. If you're still watching this, whoa, curse upon ye. I just threw my substitute plush, but I didn't want to throw it at the camera.